You're listening to Supervision with a Vision, where we discuss all things supervision. I'm your host, Sarah, professional counselor, marriage and family therapist, play therapist, eating disorder specialist, and cookie lover, with my co-host, Heather, marriage and family therapist, certified Together in Texas counselor, a Texas transplant from California, and outdoor adventurer. Hi, welcome to Supervision with a Vision. Today, Heather and I are talking about picking tomatoes. This week we read Why You Can't Win with a Tomato, published in Psychology Today 2025. And Heather, that sounds kind of funny, but it really applies to a lot of the things that we do.
Right.
When was the last time you think you were picking tomatoes? Can you think of? Or something like it.
Something like that. I mean, produce, probably a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. And do you have like tips or tricks or things that you look for when you're picking produce?
This one in particular was a pineapple.
Okay.
And so pineapple, if their little top leaves are like loose and not really tied in there, you should be able to pull one out. It means it's ripe and ready to
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
There you go.
Well, I would think, what if they're like really loose?
Then that's bad.
Right,
Yeah.
right? Then it's like going bad.
Right.
Okay. When I pick a pineapple, I always look at the bottom.
Okay.
Is that a thing?
Probably.
Yeah. Kind of the same thought though.
Right.
Like if I look at it and it looks like dry, hard,
then it looks,
then it's not going to be very juicy. Right. Or if I look at the bottom and I'm like, ew, that looks like mushy, then I'm also thinking like, okay, that's past its point. Right. Okay. So that's kind of the idea of the article is picking produce. And the first point that the article made is that these little tricks or tips that we have can be helpful, but they're not a 100% for sure thing. Right.
They're just kind of a guess or a more likely than not.
Yeah. So your pineapple that you picked out,
it was fine.
Was it a good one?
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. When I think of picking tomatoes, I feel like maybe I'm not very good at picking tomatoes. I think I could pick one that looks really nice, and then you cut into it, and it can be like
kind of too gooey, like juicy
or grainy.
Oh yeah.
Like that, like where it's not actually very juicy and it's more like the texture on the inside is.
So I thought for a long time that I didn't like tomatoes anymore. And I didn't ever equate this, but actually now I can go back and look. It was when we moved. So we moved from California to Texas, and tomatoes are different here.
Really?
They're just different. I don't know how to describe it. They're different.
The taste
is different. They're California tomatoes, which now I know I don't even think they actually grow in California, just where they're imported from, are like they have a more flavorful taste to them than a lot of them that I would find here. And I didn't know why or what or how. Yeah. I thought I just don't like tomatoes that much anymore. And I would just take them off any sandwich, any burger, anything. Yeah. And then maybe a few years ago, I just started eating them again. I was like, oh, well, tomatoes are good. I'll have tomatoes in that. And I would have tomatoes in things like a good salsa or a pico de gallo or whatever, but like not like plain on a sandwich or just on a plate. And I was like, oh, I like tomatoes again. When I never really put together that it was like actually probably either where they like originated from or how long they'd been in the store. I mean, there's so many things that could go into it.
Right. So, yeah. Well, and that's what we're talking about, right? That there are so many variables in picking something and choosing something. So applying this today we're applying our idea of picking tomatoes to finding a great work environment for yourself.
Yeah.
So we might have these like little tips or tricks, and they might be helpful, but they aren't 100% guarantee that it's going to work out. Right. So can you think of work-related examples of that you thought, maybe you've had a job in the past where you thought, oh, it checks all my boxes. This is going to be a great job. And then maybe it was, maybe it wasn't.
Right. I had a job. Actually, I hadn't even started grad school, but I knew I was accepted to grad school. And so I went to work for this company that I was like, yes, and when I have to get hours, I can get hours here. Like this is going to be the perfect match. And then I went on the job interview, and I kind of knew in the job interview that I got the job. Yeah. And I remember looking at like the salary and like all the benefits. And I was like, this is an it company. These benefits are outstanding. This is like everything matches. And it's like a big increase from what I was making. And so I was like, okay, but other than the drive, because there was a little bit of a commute, this is going to be fantastic. And it just wasn't.
Yeah.
Once I was in doing the job, there were just, I would say it was what they didn't tell me about the job. The things that they told me about the job were
a good fit. That's what I was thinking. Like, one of my first jobs out of school, I probably did at the time check all of my boxes.
Sure.
Like you said, like number one most important thing is that they were going to pay me something.
Right. They're going to pay me money.
Because I wasn't making any money yet.
Right.
And that at the time I needed what I thought most important, the opportunity to get a lot of direct experience hours because that's what I needed.
Right.
So I did get those two things.
Right. Those were real.
But that's like maybe like picking a tomato just based on the color.
Sure. The color looks fantastic.
Like this is a beautifully red tomato. And then, but maybe it's like squished.
Right.
And you just didn't even consider that squished could be important.
Right.
Okay. So definitely that can happen.
Yeah.
Maybe like our tips and tricks that we just gave each other about picking a pineapple, then now I'm going to pull the leaves the next time I try
that. Yeah.
That maybe that's true about finding a job, that the more you look for jobs or the more experience you have with a job, with different jobs,
you get kind of better at it.
You learn better what to look for, but also what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That what fits you is probably the most important thing.
Okay, the next point in the article they made, that really these things are designed to look good and look ready, but it doesn't necessarily mean ready.
Yeah. Do you know how much effort is put into the produce department at a grocery store? That's like their number one like focus for display, for everything. We have places that like we think they're just spritzing them with water, but it's like they're like making them look good because produce look better. Doesn't a grape look better wet than it does dry? Things like that.
Yeah. So like there's a lot of produce where they probably before it gets to the grocery store have that like waxy
like the spray on it to make it look shiny. Yeah.
What, like apples?
I think apples do that.
Citrus. Okay, so how does this apply to jobs? They're designed to look good, or to be ready, but it doesn't always necessarily mean it's ripe.
It's ripe, or that it's the best for you. I mean, that's like one of the biggest things is if it can, with a job, it can look like you can go visit, or you look on the website and have a beautiful office and it looks beautiful.
I'm not naming names because I'm thinking of a company that I think they're franchised.
Okay.
And they have a lot of locations near where you and I live. And it looks good.
Yeah.
I've had
great.
Really, I'm probably a good handful of supervisees that have been kind of enticed by the look and the sales pitch and how great it sounds, and this is going to be so great. And they got going and went,
this isn't,
and not, I don't think deceived on purpose.
Right. They just were focused on those things that were presented to them.
Well, I think everyone involved bought the sales pitch.
Sure.
Sounded good.
Right.
Like, when you're being interviewed for a job, no one shows up. The interviewer doesn't show up. Looking bad.
Right.
Actually, I take that back.
You had an experience?
I went on a job interview and this was going to be the greatest job. I was so excited about it. And I really ignored the warning signs because it was just going to be the greatest job ever. 2 people interviewed me. And I just thought, great interview. I felt good about it.
Right.
They said all the things I wanted to hear. And at the end of the interview, we kind of like said bye and parted ways. And the 2 of them had different places to go. So we all 3 went kind of different ways. And big building with an elevator. So I got on the elevator and went down. And I went down one floor and one of the interviewers got on.
Oh,
so she must have like had somewhere to go. Anyway, we ended up on the elevator together and riding down the rest of the way. She was so disgruntled.
Oh.
She was angry. She was annoyed. I think I said something pleasant, like I just met you and I'm hoping that you're my new boss. So I'm going to say something
nice,
casual and pleasant. And she said something so grumbly.
And you were like, oh, okay.
And I went, that's weird. She must have other things going on. No, she was just a grumbly person forever and ever. I knew her a very long time.
That is how she was.
And that's just, And I just ignored that part because
Right.
it was designed to look good and
Looked
be
good.
ready.
The package looked great.
And it wasn't necessarily ready.
Right. It's true.
Okay. This article has 4 points. So the
Yeah.
third point in the article was that in our choices, we
Right.
sometimes have delayed feedback.
Oh, sure.
So then it's also difficult to learn from our choice, like the
Right.
decision-making process.
Right.
So going back to our produce example, like you bought your pineapple, how many days later did you
Actually,
cut into
the reason I needed it to be ripe is because I wanted it for that day. So I like really wanted one that was ready to go at the store, which
Right.
isn't always what I'm
True.
looking for.
Right.
But
Right.
that time was
Yeah. So there are some times where you pick fruit or produce and you bring it home, and maybe like nobody eats it for a day.
Right.
or
They
2
sit in the
days.
fruit bowl or they don't get,
Yeah. And by then, when you bite into it or cut into it, you might not remember all the thought process that
Sure.
went into picking it or
Mhm.
exactly what it looked like or felt like when you picked it.
Right.
So then it's harder to learn from those
Right.
choices. So I think that definitely happens with jobs,
Mhm.
right? Like me describing my elevator ride. I completely ignored that detail
Right. Even though it was
until later, and I went,
you're just like this.
"Yeah, I saw that coming."
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
so it might be a little difficult or tricky to learn from your
Yeah.
choices because it's spread over time.
Right. I think when I took that job that was the right pay and had a little bit of a commute, but it was going to be the greatest company to work for. And then I got in and realized I was one of the first hires that they did out at this certain location. And I thought, oh, that's great too. And I'll have this down. And, and like the more and more, it took me seeing it through other people's eyes as well before I realized, yeah, they're forgetting to say that on the job interview, like on their presentation to you about what this job is. They're not telling you about like the really hard pieces of this job or like the things that like, yeah, don't wear nice clothes. Like you're working in behavioral intervention, you're going to get spit on, like, those kind of things. Like,
or what about, I think especially in the work that we do, that there are so many different actual tasks.
Oh, sure.
That we are involved in that you don't experience all of those tasks immediately.
Right.
That maybe, I don't know, like as a counselor at an agency, you're doing lots of individual counseling, but it takes quite a while before, I don't know, you experience what happens when a client is upset and how the agency handles that. Maybe you work there for months and months before that situation comes up.
Right.
Or maybe for a long time you don't see any families.
Right.
And then you do see a family and you see how the organization deals with families and that's different.
Yeah.
Do you think that could be part of the experience of counselors, that we just don't, those tasks don't come up every day?
Right. I had a supervisee that was working in a location. She felt pretty great there, felt like a good match. And then she saw how they handled like the financial side of it for a family. And I think this family had been like on some kind of payment plan or something like that. And the family brought in the email to ask her about it. And she had never.
She was surprised to see
by
the
that.
tone.
See the tone and read it. And she just was like, oh, I'm done. I don't want to work here.
Wow.
I don't want my name associated with this. But she'd been working there for 5 months. Yeah. I mean, it was like she'd been there a while. It wasn't,
One of the job I was describing, first job, right, or not first, almost first job right out of school, and really my only criteria were, are they going to pay me?
And can I get hours?
And can I get hours? I had worked there a very long time because this happened close-ish to the time that I was like trying to figure out how to get out of there. And so I went, I don't know, a year, maybe 2 years before I ever experienced this happening. The leadership bought pizzas for everyone.
Okay.
I thought, cool, pizza. Yeah. Okay. But the stipulation was that you could have pizza if you came to the medical records room and sat down in front of a stack of papers and just signed.
No thanks. Sorry, gotta go by.
Even then, I mean, maybe just me being naive, I thought, well, sure. I mean, if I miss signatures and I need to
like on your own notes, sure.
Right, that's what I thought. They've combed through this and they found a stack of things that I need to fix.
Sarah, you have 10 papers you need to sign.
No, it was just a giant stack of anything that was unsigned. Put your name on it.
Oh my. Okay.
And then sitting down, and I'm telling you, pizza already in my
mouth.
face.
You're like,
and I'm like,
oh,
I didn't do that.
Right. That's not my family. I didn't work with them.
Well, like I never even worked with grown-ups here.
Right.
So why am I signing adult stuff when this isn't mine? Or, I mean, it just got worse and worse. The more I looked at what was sitting in front, I was like, I don't think I even worked here that year.
Right. I'm not here.
Like I wasn't here. I wasn't in the building. Then I went, oh, that's how they solve this problem. I'm not.
Yeah, I need to go.
But I did. I worked, and I don't know that. I do know that they did it after that day again, but I don't know that they'd ever done it before that in the time period that I worked there. So that's how they. I guess they thought it was a great idea.
I guess they kept doing it. It worked last time.
Yeah. So at least in our work, or in the way people choose a job, it might happen that you make your choice,
then you get feedback,
and the feedback is much later. So it's hard for you to reflect on the decision making you did at the time. Okay. The last point is that AI is confusing our decision making.
Yes.
Because with all the things that AI can do for us, it pretties things up.
Sure. It makes things okay, even in a written job description. If it is not in the tone of maybe the culture of the company or in the culture of the person you're going to work for, it can make it sound like something it's not, or maybe not letting the true vibe, the true energy in for what it is.
I hadn't thought I know you and I talked about this before we started recording, but I hadn't thought of it this way. One of the jobs that I've quit in the last handful of years, their website, even when I was there, but since they've continued to improve and tweak their website to improve on it. Their website makes it look amazing. That I know and have been in the building and been with these people and done, I mean, I've worked with all of those people that's on the website. And when I look at the website, I think, that's beautiful.
That is great. How'd they get that picture?
And I know that that's the actual real room. And I'm like, that looks good.
Right. That is like great.
That makes that look, but does it look that way in real life? Or does it look that way on a regular business day? No.
Right.
But wow. So that makes our decision making hard.
Right. You just don't know what can.
Right. AI tools can do so much to make something up.
Right.
What about maybe like a job description or a website? Those things, especially if you're using AI tools, can't really reflect the actual feeling or the culture that you experience when you get there.
Right. And I think this kind of tags into it. Nowadays a lot of first interviews are done via Zoom. And so you're not you're not in the building, you're not in and I think there's so much that's hidden behind that about, so your first experiences on your first day, like that to me seems strange too. And it goes along where like AI can make any room look beautiful, or any background on Zoom look fantastic, or maybe the background's at their house and not at the office, or,
and more than just that it makes it look great. What's going on around them that they've like cut out of the screen?
Right.
That not just like they're wearing their pajama bottoms, but something like some other disaster of a mess that you just can't see. What about people who are accepting virtual positions?
Oh, sure.
Virtually.
Yeah.
There are lots of counseling organizations where you get brought on and you're going to provide virtual services, and they hired you virtually. Then you don't know what it feels like to work for these people or interact with these people, really.
Right. It's just kind of a like, oh, you do this thing and you'll be under our umbrella. And then you're like, wait, do I want to be under that umbrella? Like
and vice versa.
Right.
Does that mean like they hire you with the presumption that they have gotten a feel for you or know that you're able or capable or interested in doing the thing that they want you to do? And maybe you've not really gathered that from each other.
Right.
You don't know that for sure from an interview virtually.
Right.
Okay. All these things make finding what you're looking for really difficult.
Right.
And also feels like a downer.
Right. You're like,
we started out thinking about tips or tricks to pick produce. do you have any tips or tricks that you might leave and end the podcast with for how do you choose a job that's going to fit you? Or how would you suggest someone look for a job that fits them?
Definitely make sure before you say yes that you have at least visited the site of where you'll be working. I mean, that I think is huge. And then I think it's important to do your research, like dig in, find out what other people, people that left the company, what have they said? You know, do people generally leave here because they become full-fledged counselors and they have their own practices, or do people leave here after 2 months because, you know, find out some details, and that takes a little work. That takes a little effort. Talk to your...
And can be hard too when you're just starting out. If you don't really have a lot of connections within the field that you're looking, it might be challenging.
Right.
That would be my tip too. Also, now I'm thinking you could apply this idea to choosing a school.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That's definitely my number one recommendation to someone who's asking me about going back to school, maybe to get a master's degree or a PhD, that talk to the people who are doing it at that school
right now,
at that business. What do they think? It's not always just, do you like it here? Because that's so superficial. But like with schools, I would want people to understand or know, what does your life look like?
Your day to day here. Like, what are you doing? And what
are you here crazy hours? Do they expect something of you that maybe I'm not willing to give right now? And I think those kinds of questions could apply to a job too. Like, how many days out of the week do you end up having to work later than you want to? If you have a hard stop time because I need to pick up kids from school,
then this doesn't fit.
Maybe it doesn't fit. So I definitely think asking people, and not the interviewers.
Asking people that currently work there.
Thanks today for listening to Supervision with a Vision. Heather and I would love to hear some of your tips and tricks for choosing great positions, as well as suggestions for upcoming episodes. You've been listening to Supervision with a Vision. Head on over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Therapy Academy to join the conversation and get show notes. We'll be back next week with more Supervision with a Vision.